Welcome to the Toast of the Weird, the gateway to the enigmatic, the extraordinary. In this haven for the peculiar, we delve into the weird web and the elaborate tapestry of life, isolating individual threads to reveal their contribution to the grand design we call life. But it's not just about observing here. We empower you to weave your own destiny, to take control of the narrative, and to become the master of your journey. Each episode is an odyssey, inviting you to embrace the oddities, influence the inexplicable, and shape the world within and around you. So tune in and let's transform the weird and wonderful world into the blueprint of your extraordinary saga, flaws included. So let's go. Welcome to the Toast of the Weird. Let's go.
Little mic check.
So that's an interesting diaper you have on your ear.
I was getting into a conversation with someone, and I don't know if they just took it the wrong way about it and the way we were talking. They're upset. They're like, oh, you're trying to create controversy and it wasn't fake. And I'm like, I've reviewed a couple assassination attempts from people and stuff before. It just seems there's a lot of questions involved.
So to me, dude, I really do think that it was totally staged to gain sympathy for Trump so that way he can win the election. No questions asked. Because how else do you disappear the fact that he's a felon out of the public eye when the public eye and the public memory is very much like a goldfish? You know, it's very like whimsical this way and that way, you know, like people don't understand the implications of him being a felon, what that will have on the presidency, because felons can't vote. If he's a convicted felon, how can he run for office, right? And when people aren't paying attention, they're just might not have got the fact that he got convicted. But you know how many rappers and gangsters are like, hey, yo, he got shot at, yo, and he's still alive. And that garnishes attention in and of itself. You know, they're saying that he's really taken off in certain communities because of the fact that he's a convicted felon who's been shot at. You know, he's got all these charges. So he's really reaching that voter base. But a lot of that voter base doesn't exactly have the right to vote either. But you can gain sympathy for a candidate.
Court of public opinion.
In the court of public opinion, because he survived an assassination attempt from his own kind, as I understand the narrative right now.
One of his own people? Is that what you're saying?
The shooter was a registered Republican, and they are searching high and low. At last I understood it. Now this is week old information, but they are searching high and low for a motive. They can't find anything on social medias, text messages, any of that kind of stuff. Like they're grasping at straws, in my opinion, for some kind of quote unquote motive. And then the one thing that I did see was what was it, July 11th or July 13th, the date when he took the shot, when the shooter took the shot. He said the night before, I'm gonna go be something bigger than myself, LOLs or something like that. I might be misquoting because, you know, week old information, but that's like the closest thing to a motive that they have for that guy.
Okay, again, too, like this is what I tried to stress with the person I talked to about this. I'm like, I think regardless if you're a fan, a diehard fan, or someone who doesn't like the presidential candidate, whoever in that moment, being able to discuss, you know, the scenario, I believe is what the importance of it is.
Yeah.
It's very, what is it? God damn it, the Latin term, who benefits? There's a Latin term, you know, when something happens, the question you ask yourself is who benefits from it.
Oh, okay.
You know what you know the phrase I'm talking about. It does, and again, too, if he was standing here, I would love to have this conversation face to face, man to man. I'm like, isn't it not kind of beneficial for you to be attacked in, you know, that certain way and garnish that kind of attention, and possibly, as the way it looks, is not look like one of your people sacrifice themselves in a way to try to make that happen for you.
Cui bono.
Cui bono, there we go. Who benefits, yeah.
Or for whose benefit.
Exactly. So, you know, and again, too, near miss and everything. And again, not that I believe or disbelieve, but these are questions that I think should be asked and answered. and regardless of that other end, you can talk about how heroic the person can be after being shot at, and that's still on the table
that
as
was
well, so
that was a really, really, really convenient photo op that photographer, who happens to be standing 20 feet away from the podium or whatever his distance was, pointing something black at the president, just happened to get off. You know what I'm saying? Like, one, hands down to the skilled professionals in the Secret Service for not shooting the photographer. But two, maybe he should have been questioned. There's a lot of questions that go along that quote unquote attempt. Joe Rogan talks about one of the Secret Service agents who's fumbling around with her gun like it's her first day on the job. Like, I'd expect that from the security service at your local Fry's, like fumbling and, oh my God, things are about to happen. But not
like
a Secret Service.
like
Exactly.
hours
Not
and
a
hours of
trained
training.
Secret Service provider.
Training
And if
takes
that's
over,
if that's the quality of service agent that we have, is somebody who can't find their own holster and is, I'm not gonna try and be mean, but who's maybe a little bit on the heavier side. If that's the standard that we have for our Secret Service agents, maybe they shouldn't be in that profession right there. And I'm just saying, that person individually, maybe they need to find a different job.
Well, who knows the qualifications and or background of certain people? I've never been in, the military service, so I can't, speak to the standards and
That's fair.
athletic ability, et cetera, certain body frames. But what I will have to say is, someone brought up another really good point. There's a lady behind the podium. Did you see this? You saw the lady? So she's got a hat and glasses on and she looks completely fine. And then like when the shots get fired, she just like pulls out her cell phone out of nowhere and everyone's all ducking, but she's still popped up like a gopher.
You sent that video to me.
Was it? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
So,
that is pretty curious, ma'am.
In that video, she's holding up a sign, right? She lifts up this sign and then she looks around and distinctively nods her head somewhere. And then the shot is fired. What? And then she's like, "Oh no, shots are fired. Let me get my phone out."
Yeah, literally doesn't look like she's fumbling for it, doesn't even look for it, her head doesn't even change. She just like pulls the phone back out. Yeah.
She dips as if she's gonna dodge bullets with everybody else, and then she just pulls out her phone. Did you see the other guy though? That they're saying is like Robert Kennedy Jr. or something like that. There's another dude who looks like a prominent politician who's dressed kind of scruffily. He's got like a wide brim kind of hat on, like a gambler's style hat.
Okay.
And he's just standing there like a doofus, and the shots are going off, and he's looking around like, "Why is everybody ducking, man? I don't understand it." I'll bet you he like changed his underwear later in the day.
He honestly could just be one of those non-reactive people.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I hear that. I hear like I swear 2 or 3 shots or something like, and I swear that's when then Trump notices his ear, and there's like another one, and then that's when people react. Yeah. To me, I noticed right away. I was like, those are shots being fired. What the fuck is going on with the people who are right there?
Yeah.
Where did that footage come from? That footage that we heard, that you could hear the shots being fired from. It's obviously it was a suppressor or something, right? Because they weren't like it was.
Well, it was also 140 feet away allegedly.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you've been around a range like.
Mm-hmm.
This is also, again, so as far as I understand, again, I'm a little ignorant in this sense. There supposedly were a bunch of Trump supporters there with weapons, out or whatever, right? Is that something like that?
No.
Normal crowd? No. Okay, anyway.
Like a regular crowd as far as I understand.
Okay.
But
from my understanding then of most Trump supporters being staunch Republicans, how come it took so long for everyone to realize those were gunshots too? Like, I'm serious. I was listening to it. There's some, but I heard that, and I was like, those are gunshots. And I don't have as much range experience as a lot of folks do.
But nevertheless, you can distinctly.
Oh yeah, those were like, I was like, those are gunshots, right?
I guess it's hard for me to understand the whole polarization aspect of all of this. Like, we could say there are Republicans who've never fired a gun, as hard as that would be to believe.
No, it's true. I mean, there's a lot of people who own stuff who don't use it.
Yeah.
Like, look at the Secret Service agent, for example. Sorry, buddy. That was low-hanging fruit. Sorry.
Wow, that was
low-hanging
like
fruit.
That was low brow, low ball.
I apologize. No, I 100%. Let me make
But
sure my voice is.
at the same time,
Apologize for that.
at the same time, in that environment, are
Mhm.
you really like expecting to have people have firearms there? Everybody spots this kid with a firearm, and
That's what I
they
was
say
told,
there's
yeah.
a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
And the head of the Secret Service agent is like, because it has a 10% pitch, it's not safe for the sniper team to be up there or anybody to be up on that roof. What?
So again,
There's multiple
he was
points. I'm
there?
just like going off on random tangents
Do you know
too.
he was there beforehand? See, again, that's
No,
you
he
know-
wasn't there. He literally pointed a gun at a cop and the cop retreated and called him in,
the cop.
as I understand it.
The cop retreated. The cop's like, "Hey, a civilian pointed a
Yeah,
gun at
and
me."
he points what was it? What did we say before? An AR-57?
It was
the
it was
one that I
probably
was
the classic
goofy?
AR-15 or whatever. Yeah.
It was,
Was it?
okay. So in all seriousness, it was an AR-15, a
God, I
very
should- I should've got
unmistakable gun.
I should have got mine sooner. The prices probably went the fuck up right
Oh,
after
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, but
Ugh.
nevertheless, they have that. He's walking through a crowd. He's obviously 20. And I don't know about you, but I can notice the difference between 20-year-old kid. Sorry if I offend any 20-year-old kids out there, but you're a 20-year-old child
Young adults, yeah.
versus a seasoned veteran. Period. Seasoned veteran. You know.
Oh, I don't know, man. Everyone's age is getting younger and younger. We got to hire people, and like, just anyway. Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, yeah. Meanwhile, at the Republican Party, you got all these nimrods with big old diapers on their ears, like, "Hey, we're supporting the president." And then everybody started making fun of those diapers, so the president came out with like a more like conservative bandage over his ear. And I get it, I just gonna say, I think it's wrong to try and assassinate political candidates wholeheartedly. That is not the discourse that we should be having.
No.
But at the same time, if you have a scratch, you don't need a giant diaper attached to your ear either.
Did the president have a diaper?
No, it was a overly sized bandage that all the supporters at the RNC last week were like wearing to support him, or whatever their brainwashing cultism was.
So it's the supporters wearing a big ass bandage, and he wasn't. Because I haven't seen anything with Trump having any bandage on. I just see the whole fist in the air and
Oh, dude.
the ear cut, and it looks like, honestly, does it look like it grazed his cheek too? Because the way the ear sits.
No, it just
Everything?
hit his
Was
ear.
that blood? Okay, was that blood then? Because it looks like.
Yeah. I'm gonna Google some Trump bandage memes right now,
It's
Which is-
honestly like.
just so you can see it. See, so this is the conservative one that I was telling you about that he needs. That makes more sense. And then
just
there's this.
two
There's
actual
this.
band-aids.
Yeah, everybody's like trying to like have big old diapers and like, we support the president.
It's really funny though, because of some of the experience I have from my significant other with bandages from her repression.
Okay.
That's actually not that bad. I mean, the only way you can actually like gauze up a fucking ear like that is to kind of go a little excessive. I want to say, like I want to say I want a medical professional to go on there and be like, yeah, that's too much. But they're probably like, yeah, he had a fucking wound on his ear and we just put a thing over it for a few days. What the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah,
Is this
well-
6th grade?
I love to be in the 6th grade because that was at the RNC, the big old white diaper on his ear. That was days later.
yeah, okay.
At the time of the event, yes, absolutely. Gauze it, stop the bleeding, get him to medical treatment for sure.
Maybe, I'm not
Maybe a
a
couple
60-some-year-old
stitches.
person. I'm not a 60-some-year-old person. Maybe he's a bleeder. Maybe,
He's 80.
Okay, there you go. See, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about anyway.
He's
See,
80.
so who
dude.
knows? And again, with that being said, like maybe it's more of a
Sorry,
cover-up
buddy.
job. Like you don't want that, like your bloody, wounded ear. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
people just, I don't know. Again, not a fan, not a hater. I just don't see a real big. It's got a little Band-Aid on his ear. People, calm the fuck down.
Yeah, well, I was more or less saying all of the cult going, we must bandage ear to support leader. Oh.
To me, honestly, if I would have just honestly put some I would have cut my ear. I'd have been like, I got the same scar, Trump. I would have like ear cut it. I mean, that to me is like that's some support right there.
All right, you really want me to support you? I'll go 140 feet away. And
that's a bit much. No, we're going.
That was a little extreme. That might get us demonetized for this episode, even though we don't get monetized. I apologize, little pygmy owl, who took offense to that.
You know, I will have to say though, in his defense later on, I hope it's going to be a really cool looking scar. Like it didn't fuck his ear up too much or whatever. Like it's real like.
Oh, it's going to be cool.
That's
and he's
awesome.
going to wear it in the press conferences. It's going to happen.
You get my good side? Did you get the good side?
Did you get the good side?
Fist raised.
Fist raised. Get that good side.
Shit, man. I mean, can you blame him? I mean, now it's, all about making yours. Fuck.
No, I can't blame him. But this is where the political theater has come to, is this kind of shenanigans. It's like, oh man, how do we make the people believe that they actually elected this guy so that way we can institute Project 2025 and Agenda 47 and everything else that the ruling oligarchy wants to do.
Yeah, 2025 is only 5 months away.
Project 2025, where they want to make everything illegal and go back to some really religious conservatism.
Really?
You haven't looked up Project 2025? Oh my God.
You know what's, I used to follow a bunch of stuff. Like there was the whatever agenda to take our vitamins down and people get scurvy and all this other shit. And I believe it and all this stuff. What's crazy.
The New World Order. You will own nothing and love it.
What's interesting to me about everything is the power that they have literally resides on us doing what we're told to do. So when everyone just stops and everyone chooses to go back to self-sustainable living instead of just little pockets and that movement, that culture is growing and everything, like there's absolutely no power. There will be a distribution of assets, absolutely, or disproportionate distribution of assets. But I'm not super worried anymore about that. Why? Because in the big plans I saw about how they're going to corral everyone in certain locations around the states, there's going to be unmanned zones. There's going to be giant swaths of land they don't want anyone to go in. That's what we're going to be hiding in. And it's going to be not worth the resources.
Thanks for making that public. We just made our plans out like look for us where no one is.
Exactly. Between Wyoming, et cetera, all the way through here, the other side. That's why do you think 80% of the population of the United States already lives on whatever side of the West Mississippi anyway? Yeah. So 20% of it lives on the other side. And even then, like a good chunk of that 20% lives in 5 fucking cities. So, I mean, it really would be really easy for people to disappear out in the wilderness, and it wouldn't be advantageous for your resources to go try to hunt down a couple thousand people in the fucking wilderness anyway.
That's true.
Who gives a shit about them?
Yeah. let those loony fringies go out there and have their day. I just get worried, dude, because that first 24 hours, 48 hours that everybody talks about, or in the Change series, they call it the dying time. And I think that's really apt and proper. But that's basically no electricity, no technology, no combustion engines. All of that is dismantled.
God, I wish people could grow up in our school time. This reminds me of the auto shop teacher we had in Flowing Wells back in the day. He's the very first person I ever remember talking to me about how he literally said, he's like, if electricity was shut off, everyone would die in a week.
Probably.
And he said that in the middle of auto shop class. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, think about it. There's no water. How are you going to get your water? He went off on a rant for a second. Then he was like, all right, anyway, back to the engine. And I was like, what? It always stuck with me how he said that. And hopefully if it gets back to him. And he also said he's the only auto shop teacher or wood shop teacher who had all of his fingers after so many years. He made a point to say that all the time. He's like, all my fingers, listen to me.
If he does, if someone who's trying to teach you something, and I'm gonna hopefully circle back and make this all complete. If somebody's trying to teach you something and they don't have all their fingers, take their advice with a grain of salt. But if they do have all their fingers, by all means, you hang on every word, take notes, question him, get that information from them, because that's the sign of a tradesman. Unlike the 2 guys I work for who don't have all of their fingers.
Well, actually, that reminds me of, I was going to send you a little ad for it. They're these like, I don't want to say puppets, but hand-drawn little like wood guys with balloon heads that have a little shield and a needle sword.
Okay.
So think like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but you get to move these guys
with
around.
The balloon, I've seen those.
You seen them?
Yeah.
Did you look at the picture of the guy who makes them?
No. He's missing a finger?
4 fingers.
He's missing 4
Missing
fingers?
4 fingers, it looks like. Yeah. So he's a craftsman and whatever, talking about how he's not going to be making for too much longer. But I want to get him. I'm like, dude, this looks awesome. We should have a couple bouts online and let people bet on it or something. Because it's really cool. Like, you can get into it. Like, the two guys that are doing it, like, they've got some actual technique. Like, really, like...
You say
shielding
that
it.
like you've learned some swords technique.
Yes.
You were pressed.
Absolutely. I am impressed. And yes, so I believe with my minor skills and your major skills, it would make a good entertaining bout.
It would. I'm out of practice, but it would. It really would.
It looked really fun, dude. Yeah, they got a little cape on, a little shield, and they were like, needle, jab. And then one guy popped him. I was like, that was cool.
In the Change series, it was the people who actually learned how to sword fight that survived and thrived more than people who were just relying on their guns and stuff. So that's the kind of apocalypse I'm hoping for. Is one where guns are just...
Well, okay, that reminds me of a picture. I have to really look it up, but it's kind of what I think will really happen. So it was this girl riding a horse over a bridge, and it was very medieval kind of theme for her. But her sword was attached with wires to a battery that was on the horse.
Okay.
So she had an electric, so it was like medieval, but yet modern technology kind of smashed a little bit together. So she had like an electric fucking sword. It was really cool.
That sounds like some cyberpunk stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I think it'll kind of be like that. Like, you'll have some remnants of technology and some people knowing some stuff. But again, too, like, will you be able to mass produce bullets after a while? No. But again, remember the movie War Dogs?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're talking to a guy who doesn't watch movies.
So those guys who sell a bunch of ammunition and stuff to the U.S. government when they got caught defrauding them because they were repacking Chinese.
Oh, that's based on the real story? Yeah. Okay.
So they talked about how, goddamn, I'm not going to get political, but the country they were in was that they got the bullets from, was the most armed country in the world or whatever. One of their locations out of hundreds in this one country had over 1 million rounds of AK ammunition in it.
What?
Yeah. So what I think will actually happen is you'll have mass amounts of people with nothing or whatever, but you'll have some groups that have a fuckload of fucking weapons, like fuckload.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So that reminds me. So you've got these guys that are armed to the gills and all that other good stuff. But I saw a video last week of a Russian tank being thwarted by Ukraine. Did you see this video?
No.
All right.
Speak on it.
So the Ukrainian literally had off-the-shelf drone, something that you could go to your local grocery store, big box store and purchase, one of the, like a good one, you know what I'm saying?
$200, yeah.
Couple $100, a good one with a camera and all that stuff, and a string and a hand grenade. And it just flies over this tank, drops the hand grenade in the open hatch, the thing blows up. And that's where I stopped watching the video. But I'm pretty sure that those guys didn't survive and they thwarted that tank. So no matter how cool and how armed you think you are, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to out clever you and just ruin your life. I'll come out on a limb and say that those Russian soldiers, their lives were totally ruined.
So I think a lot of that, again, not trying to talk against one country or another, but a lot of it shows how posturing goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the fact that we've got arms and we've got this or, that, like, how long have we been, worried about one country over another? And then when they start, fighting each other, how long has that shit been going on now? I can't, like,
2 years.
Okay. I mean, this is terrible comment. This is an extremely terrible thought, but like, you figured they'd be done by now. Like you figured with everything, I don't know, like what the fuck, 2 fucking years, dude? Like we're just going to drag this shit off of these poor fucking people, dude? Like take them over or back the fuck off.
Okay. I'm going to preface this with
it's
saying
terrible
that
thought.
This really doesn't affect my everyday life.
Disgusting thought I had. Yes.
Yes. This doesn't really affect my everyday life, but the way that I understand it is that Russia has a meat grinder strategy.
Okay.
If I quote the reporter,
okay,
they have a meat grinder strategy and they're literally conscripting guys off of the street and just sending them into battle. It's like, here, this is how the gun works. Go. They're not trained soldiers. They're not professional soldiers. They're literally just out there invading Ukraine because if they throw enough bodies at it, they'll overtake it. It's like the old school real-time strategy games. If you just make enough grunts really cheaply, you can overwhelm any force, and that's Russia's strategy.
I mean, they do have a huge population. So saving all of their specialized units or probably making different missions and whatever. But yeah, again, it's the overwhelming cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like if you throw enough grunts at the problem, maybe something will work. Whereas our military strategy is not that at all. We
Really?
get actual professionals who want to study and learn and, do it for 20
yes
years.
and no. Let's analyze our 10, 11-year occupation. It wasn't even a war. It was an
Oh, are you
occupation.
talking about, of what?
Yeah,
Of what?
the Afghanistan. Or,
That was
right,
20 years, dude.
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, 20
Man.
years, exactly.
Oh, God.
20 years.
Don't get me started on that because we're paying Afghanistan now something in the millions of dollars every single week.
You mean
because of what we did?
We're printing pieces of paper and sending them little pictures of our dead presidents?
Yes, exactly. And
And
we're paying them. We're like, here, we're paying you so that way you don't really come and attack us because this is how your culture makes it right, as far as I understand
Well,
it.
what about all the crap we left there? Oh, wait.
They can have that.
Oh, wait, the Taliban were helping facilitate that.
They can have that.
Oh, my God. That
They
is
can
the
have that.
worst.
That's okay.
Fucking... Anyway.
Yeah.
We're like the rich kid on the block who's like, I'll just buy another bike. You keep it. Fuck it. I will print... I'll have my dad print up more Monopoly money to pay your dad to get me another bike to give you.
We got to look at
Some
current
bullshit.
stats. We got to look at the current stats. But the U.S. makes something like 20,000 tanks every single day. We're running out of places to put them. We have the largest military budget in the world. Like, we could literally half our military budget and still outspend the next country.
What's funny is we're buying the shit from ourselves. That's what gets me with the whole circle jerk of economy. Like, well, the economy. I'm like, the economy? It's just this made up fucking like table jerk of like fucking paper and computer digits passing from one person to another, and they're like, oh, the economy, it's not good, the economy. The economy is the people in the street buying and selling burgers and fucking trucks and, I don't know, just all the shit. And I haven't even talked about the farmers lately. What's going on with all the farmer crap over there? I mean, that hasn't been a big issue lately.
The farmer crap over where?
Well, over in Europe, all the farmers and all the stuff they're doing to them, and then they were like dumping like a manure on all their like heads of state and all this other shit, blocking all the fucking. You didn't see that?
No.
Blocking fucking streets and shit with all their tractors.
Because all of that is censored in the American media because that might give us ideas to uprise against our corporate oligarchs.
Yeah, you gotta really search that stuff out. What's really funny though is in all the really cool, peaceful countries like Switzerland and shit, and all these other like, wait, what's going on over there? Why are these people? The world is going to shit. That's what makes me, I don't know.
We live in interesting times for sure. I thought you were going to talk about the French protest in the Seine River.
So there's just too much to go. There's too much going on. Like someone was talking about how we are in actual war right now, and they listed all the fucking conflicts that are going on, like major conflicts. And I was like, holy fuck me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always a conflict going on. That's what, like, President Eisenhower warned us against the military-industrial complex. He literally said, on his exit speech, watch out for this. There are people that want to throw us into debt just to perpetuate war.
If you make war profitable, it'll never end.
There you go. There you go. There's always going to be a conflict somewhere of this region of people against that region of people because people want to be this divisive for the dumbest ass shit. Yeah. Are you a Cowboys fan or are you a Raiders fan?
Neither. I don't watch gladiatorial sports events that make no difference on the outcome of my life.
Hey, we can't have that. You need to go have your bread and circuses. I mean, your beer and pretzels and watch your, overly large masculinely men whose sexual status is questionable, like beat each other up. And then it's a scandal when one of them comes out as this or that.
We all know you're on
further
steroids,
distracts
but
you.
don't let anyone find that you're on steroids. What? I don't know, growth enhancers or this chemical
TRT.
was legal now and then later on it's not legal or growth.
It's only legal in these
breast
situations.
milk or I don't know what the fuck. Jesus Christ, people, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, it's all about dividing people. It's all about dividing people. And that's what this podcast strives to do. Divide people further. You love it or you hate it, but leave an opinion in the comments.
Support us on Patreon.
Just kidding. We don't really have a Patreon. I just learned how to YouTube yesterday.
To me, it's kind of like the digital tip jar. It kind of feels like
The digital tip jar.
And thank you for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you for tipping.
Fair enough. There's also like a YouTube subscription thing that you could benefit from. I was looking into.
There's I have a whole list from one of my digital mentors about it. Jake Tran, by the way. Jake Tran.
Well, yeah, job names.
I mean, I have no problem giving credit where credit's due. To me, it's like the first time I didn't even realize what I was doing, and someone made the distinction on one of their videos. They're talking about, yeah, if you click on the link below, I get a cut for it, and some of you don't, think whatever. They were making, some observations about people's feelings about it, and some people are like, oh, you're not going to make money off me, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You are going to go there and buy that shit anyway. And you don't want to benefit the person who fucking gave you the information, you're an asshole. I was like, of course I'll click on your link for you. I get 10% off and you get a kickback? What the fuck? Why not?
Yeah. You really do have to support the local people that you enjoy, for sure.
I think it's just all about perception. Again, people think that they're being taken because someone's making money off of you.
Yeah.
You're spending that $100 anyway, whether the profit of the $20 goes directly to the company or 10 goes to them and 10 goes to someone who brought them more business, it makes no difference to me.
Yeah. If you're going to go get your whey protein and somebody was like, try this brand of whey protein because look at me. And you're like, I want to look like you. And you don't click on that dude's link. Yeah, I totally agree. You need to grow up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, and with that sense, and money being tossed around, I really have some differing thoughts on tipping nowadays. Because of how everything is streamlined and how technology is based. And not only that, but the actual lack of real customer service for people. And I'm in customer service, so I know what real customer service looks like. I don't think that a 20% tip should be garnished if I go and tell you and you press 4 buttons and then I literally get nothing out of it.
There's a meme floating around that says, if I have to order standing up, I'm not tipping you.
If I go to there's some places in mind. If I go to a restaurant, I don't care if they're on their pin pad. That's still fine with me, and they don't have to write it down. If you come and you interact, you take the order, there's certain things again too that warrant, a tip.
Yes.
I want to say
I was about to say, I've discovered a local ice creamery.
Ooh.
Oh my God. I will tip them. Yes, you order standing up, but it is 100% local business. It's been voted best of this city for many, 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 many years now. I'll tell you when mics are cold, but I will tip them because they're sitting there, they're like, what do you like? You scrape, here's your thing, do the thing. Yeah. And it is the best ice cream I have ever had. It's the only place I go to that I don't order chocolate. That's how good it is. And if you know me, I love chocolate. I would murder a motherfucker over some chocolate, but I don't go there and get chocolate. Their chocolate is outstanding, but it's not the best.
I'm glad to know between me and some chocolate, I would stand no chance. I'm good enough. I'd be like, Wayne, we'll get the chocolate later. And you're like, chocolate first, bitch. And I'm like, okay. Sorry, Papa Weird.
It's whatever. We're out there. All right, what did you say while I was going on my tirade? You were making a point, and I just kind of like steamrolled over it.
What was my point? Tipping. Oh yeah. So again, too, there's something to be said for some of the folks in certain areas, because you know what else gets me too is you would usually tip at the end of the service.
Yeah.
Right. After service is done and everything, and would kind of give you the option to be an asshole customer, but also gets you the opportunity to see the service before you tip for it. Now, you order your food and you tip before anything is done for you whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like
I don't even get a cup yet.
You judge your level of service that we're about to give you. You know what I'm saying?
Like that's
if you don't give us a decent tip, you're gonna get decent service. You know what I'm saying?
And again, they can see the tip right away because on the digital screen. And what else bothers me is a lot of shit's prompt up immediately at 20%.
Yeah.
Like there's like, 20%. I'm like, what did you do for 20% extra?
20% is this. Okay, that's a great number. No tip. Boop. Give me your service.
Or not just that, like they get to see it, but only that. But what I feel is going on is there's this overwhelming pressure for the customer to supply supplemental income to the employee because the company.
That's background noise. That'll get edited out, and then I'll just sound like a weirdo. Go back 2 episodes. And I'm like, that'll be edited out. And it is edited out because I am upping my skills. So
yeah, so tipping, and again, like what, because it also interests me because it's it's an American thing, more or less. Or not American.
It is an American.
Other countries don't do that because, again,
It's frowned upon.
they provide them with an income to do the job. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if these other businesses, other companies can do that, how come we can't pay a waiter or waitress, money where they don't have to rely on sucking up to someone in a sense, or flirting with someone, or whatever,
Well,
to be able to get money for their job? That's
Yes.
bullshit.
And I've said it for years. You get the customer service that you deserve, not the customer service that, you expect or you're quote unquote entitled to. Like you're an asshole, you get treated like an asshole.
Yeah.
That's the way it should be.
The customer, this is something I believe and I preach to my people. The customer decides the level of service they want you to provide.
That's great. That
If
is
you
a
come in
great
on your
statement.
fucking cell phone and you're not talking to me at all, I'm not going to give you customer service. 643, sir.
Yeah. When I was back in the day,
Yeah,
I
fuck
would
that. Like,
back in the day, I would tell people, okay, can you step to the side and have your phone call? Thank you.
what?
And just help the next person.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can never do that.
And then after a while, like you've said it before, you have to train your customers. After a while, those customers would come in. I was a clerk at a gas station
Mhm.
at the time, but they'd come in and go, hold on a second. And then they put their phone down and go, give me my Marlboro Reds.
Yeah.
Done, dude. Thank you for getting off the phone and talking to me. But now we don't even have that as a common courtesy. These phones are taking over more and more of our attention. My wife was watching a video last night, and I was watching it over her shoulder, of a mom who sat down to dinner, put stuff down on the table, put plates out, started to like dish out her service, and there were grown men sitting around the table, like husbands, sons, that kind of thing. She got her portion, sat there, ate her food, looked around. Everybody's still zoned out on their phones. She was done. She cleaned up everything and went away. And the dude sat there just like, what happened? I don't understand why mom just freaked out. I'm like, you guys are on your phones at the family dinner table. Put that shit down.
It's not, the idea of a family dinner is,
It's probably foreign nowadays. I know it's foreign in my family, and we're just now starting to eat at the table. But that got to me because we're just now starting to eat at the table. And when I was a kid, our family sat around the dinner table and ate our food.
I remember that. I remember, actually, this reminds me back in the day. Remember when the TV was the problem?
Yeah, it still is the problem, but
No, everyone has their own entertainment face shield.
that's true. You got your own tiny TVs going on. And now a word from a motorcycle.
Dude, go around the other side of the block.
I should leave that in. I'm not going to leave that in, but I should leave that in. Yeah, and then there's a meme going around of the 1920s when newspapers were popular. People sitting on the
I
trains.
saw that. Oh,
Just
antisocial
reading
nowadays.
newspapers.
Right? Yeah.
They're like wholesome, just like back in the day. Everybody enjoying the moment. No, everybody's stuck in their propaganda.
That's very true.
Their
They're that
divisive propaganda. Because remember, rugged individualism. You got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You can
Someone
do
else
it
was
by
talking
yourself.
about that too. Was another, because Tristan Tate was the first person who I heard talk about, how we screw ourselves with our family over here. Another gentleman was talking about, again, you have 10 different children, and then go off, have 10 different homes and 10 different electric bills, and
Yep.
have their own all this other. It's a huge psyop for our culture.
Yeah, and it is the way it is. We get what we get out of it, what we put into it as a society. All right, man. Well, this has been a really serious episode. I think it's about time we wrap it up. I think we can't really beat any more dead horses.
So I will.
You want to beat a dead horse? You good?
No, I'm good. I'm okay with no animal abuse being linked to our brand whatsoever.
Oh yeah, you can't say stuff like that because the Ministry of Propaganda has deemed that type of phraseology is frowned upon.
What, you're talking about beating animals?
Yeah, beating a dead horse. No, you can't say that. You have to be PC. We are over speaking on these topics.
I looked at, there was a whole list of like words you're not supposed to say. And some of them are very obvious. Other ones I'm just like, what
Really?
the fuck?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole list of some random words you can't say, you can get demonetized for and shit like that.
I don't doubt it. I watch these things where everything's edited out, and I'm like, really? You can't say that? It's edited out so you could get your money? Dude. I'm not going to say any of it because, I don't want to sit there and edit it all out, but I get it.
Whatever platform, on, there is another one someone's talking about. And again, a lot of it really just boils down to censorship, ownership, and whose political agenda you're pushing or not pushing, So whatever certain platform may not be as free willing that way, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
any case.
Anyhow, you got anything to say on the way out?
Brainworms, wasn't it?
I'm voting for brainworms. Absolutely.
Yep. That's good.
I made an intro. I should make an outro so I don't have to come up with one every single time. But again, thank you for using this hour to kind of forget about your woes and talk about the woes of the world that are going on. If you've enjoyed any of our content, thank you. We're getting there. We're building the plane as we fly.
Right.
Keep it weird.
Keep it weird. Later.